Week 14 waiver wire ads. So congratulations if you made the playoffs this year. Maybe you're still fighting to get in the playoffs. Maybe your playoffs are week 15, whatever the case may be. Congratulations to you because this year has been incredibly difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some waiver wire pickups that can help you win this week. Also, I'm going to talk about some players that I think you should have on your bench for the playoff run. And if you're, maybe you're not in the playoffs, but you're battling to not take last place because there's a punishment, well, this video is also for you. But before we get into it, if you do like this content, please like, and I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed as well if you aren't already. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, well, JD McKissic, you can see here's the first one, but I'm going to talk about a couple guys here, and that's going to be Jeff Wilson. I do think Jeff Wilson has a little bit of like flex appeal this week, but these are guys that if you're looking for someone to just pick up, say you drop somebody, and you're just looking for somebody to add, like not somebody that you're going to put in your starting lineup, just have on your bench. These are guys that I would have on your bench, okay? Like Benny Snell, Ahmed, Kalen Balaj, Alexander Madison. Like these are guys that should be on your bench because they're basically one player away. Say something happens to Dalvin Cook, say he gets hurt, or say he has COVID, say, James Conner gets hurt next week, whatever the case may be. These are going to be guys that are going to be a bell cow in their offense. They're premium handcuffs that should be owned in your league, especially during the playoff time, because if one of these guys gets hurt, you might have a lottery ticket there. So just keep that in mind. I would add these guys. If you're looking to just add somebody, add one of these guys, whomever is available, whatever one you prefer, but all of them are guys that I think should be on your bench for the playoff run. The first one here is going to be Cam Akers. Cam Akers is the top ad of the week, in my opinion. Cam Akers got 21 carries last week. Anybody that sees that amount of work needs to be added on your teams. There's somebody who might be a lottery ticket, plays New England this week. New England's not that good against the ground. The next week plays the Jets. So this is somebody who, if that workload continues, could be a league winner in my opinion. JD McKissic, but chances are he's probably not available in your league. The other one is going to be Peyton Barber. And I really don't think that Antonio Gibson is going to be back anytime soon. I honestly think he might miss all of the playoffs this year, which is going to be incredibly unfortunate for people that have had him all season, but there's a good chance that he may miss the entirety of the playoffs. To already be ruled he's basically ruled out. He hasn't officially been ruled out, but is doubtful. To basically already be doubtful right now is not a good sign going forward. And next one is going to be Keke Coutee. I kind of talked about him last week as well. This is somebody who's, when he has been given the opportunity, has been pretty good. His thing is he just can't stay on the field. He just can't stay healthy. Last week, had over 140 receiving yards, so looked pretty good. Only 23% rostered right now. Gets a good matchup this week against the Bears. Now, the Bears defensively are pretty good, but in the slot, it gets Buster Screen, who Buster Screen is not good. So that's where Keke Coutee played most of his snaps, from the slot. So I imagine this week is another pretty good week from Keke Coutee. The next one here is going to be Ty Johnson. Now, this is if Frank Gore's out, which he may be out this week. Like, concussion protocol is a lot harder now than it previously was, so he might not play this week. Like, there's a decent chance he might not play. Ty Johnson played over 60% of the snaps when Frank Gore went down, so somebody that if you need some running back help or maybe a flex play, there's somebody who's going to be in for 60% of the snaps, seeing a decent amount of work. Yes, he plays Seattle this week, so it's not the best matchup, but is somebody who's seeing plenty of work. The next one here is going to be T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton the past 2 weeks has maybe coming back to life here a little bit. He's averaging over 80 yards and a touchdown in the past 2 games. So maybe that trend continues. Does get a pretty good matchup this week against the Raiders. So if there is another week to continue it, it is this week against the Raiders, who the Raiders defensively aren't very good really anywhere up front, against the air. So T.Y. Hilton. And the next one here is going to be Collin Johnson. Collin Johnson for me does have some flex appeal as well. The past 2 weeks since MikeLennon has taken over, he is wide receiver 15. So that was with DJ Chark coming back as well last week. He had 4 catches, I believe, for 66 yards. Plays Tennessee this week. Tennessee's given up the 8th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position this year. The next one here is going to be Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick, if you've watched this before, you know I love Tim Patrick. I love Tim Patrick. I really don't love Drew Lock, though, is what the issue is. They play Carolina. he has been producing, but it's not high volume. So he's been scoring some touchdowns. The games that he hasn't had touchdowns, though, he's getting a decent amount of yards, but he's probably going to be somebody who's going to see like 50, 60 yards, maybe 40, somewhere around there. Hopefully a touchdown. It's just not a very high volume passing offense, not a very high volume offense in general. So that's why he's here. Whereas like Collin Johnson, I'd rather play Collin Johnson this week because I'd imagine that Tennessee will be, beating Jacksonville, and they'll have to throw the ball a decent amount, where this game I think is going to be a little bit more competitive against the Broncos and Carolina. The next one here is the streaming options for tight ends, but this is somebody who should be on your roster regardless. This season right now, Logan Thomas is tight end number 8 on the season, yet he's only rostered in 35% of leagues. Why is that? Why is he only rostered in 35% of leagues? I've talked about him all season long, like since like week 4, this dude has been producing. Now tight end position is pretty brutal, like all across the board. Maybe one week you might get a couple points from him, but last week had a really good week. That's why you just keep playing him each week. Don't play matchups anymore, just play him, because maybe he does bad, but maybe he has a really good week, and that's all you can ask for right now in the season. Tight end number 8, so play him this week. Another tight end, if you need somebody to play, like look at this. Dalton Schultz is higher rostered than Logan Thomas. He's rostered in 41% of leagues, yet Logan Thomas is tight end number 8. Why? Why is that? I don't understand. But Dalton Schultz this week does get the Bengals right now, I believe they're giving up the 4th most fantasy points to the tight end position this year. So Dalton Schultz does have some appeal. I'd much rather play Logan Thomas over Dalton Schultz, but if Logan Thomas isn't there, I don't know why Dalton Schultz would be there, but if Dalton Schultz is there, then sure, get Dalton Schultz. And the last one here is also dependent on Jonnu Smith not playing again. Maybe he plays this week, I don't know. But if he doesn't, then Anthony Firksker, in my opinion, is a decent streaming option as well. Last week, this previous week without Jonnu Smith, he had 5 receptions, 51 yards against Cleveland, who Cleveland's not very good against the tight end, but neither is Jacksonville. Last time these two teams played, like him and Jonnu Smith went off against Jacksonville. As you can see, Jonnu Smith, I believe, had like nearly 100 yards, maybe even over 100, but I think it was 90 something. So these two went off against Jacksonville last time. I expect if Jonnu Smith can't go again, I do like Firksker. And let's go into some quarterback streaming options. Phillip Rivers at the top of the list. The past 4 weeks is averaging 18 points per game. So he's been pretty consistent these past 4 weeks. This week gets gets the Raiders. So yes, this is a pretty good streaming option. The next one is going to be, this is where we're at, okay? This is where we're at. Mitchell Trubisky. All right, I had to say him plays Houston this week. It's a good matchup. It's not like the greatest matchup, but it is a pretty good matchup. And the last one here, I honestly would want to play him over Mitchell Trubisky, is MikeLennon. MikeLennon in the past 2 weeks has basically had the same numbers as Mitchell Trubisky has. And MikeLennon gets Tennessee this week, where I think Tennessee is going to be up. So he's going to have to be throwing the ball a decent amount. We'll have Chark, Collin Johnson, and could have a decent week this week. But this is where we're at. Like, if you need somebody, you're desperate, you don't want to take last place, you have no other options, sure, here's an option for you. Okay, MikeLennon. I don't feel great about it, but that's where we're at. Week 14. Okay, it gets ugly. So if you like this content, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, ask it in the comments below. We'll answer any questions you have. Thank you for watching the video, and have a great day.